Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old to history to anecdotes to really wherever our whims take us. It's usually to Whim City, my favorite place. The neighborhood is on the up and up. Alternate universe imprints, they are a thing. A place to play with other versions of characters or events. Sometimes there is only a slight variance between the two worlds. And sometimes the worlds are so different they are nearly unrecognizable. Today the latter and the Tangent Universe. The Tangent Universe was created by DC in 1997 and was the brainchild of Dan Jurgens, who had the idea for most of the characters or oversaw pitches and the main events that would shape this universe. This would be a world full of characters who shared the names of popular DC heroes, villains, and teams, but from there would diverge wildly. When describing the universe, he pitched it as, the Tangent Universe tells the story of an Earth greatly influenced by the presence of superpowered beings. While the DCU Earth is essentially the same as our own, no more advanced in terms of technology or communications, despite the existence of those qualities within the superpowered community, Earth Tangent is greatly influenced by all of that. Earth Tangent's economic, geographic, and political landscapes are defined by the superhero community, whereas in the DCU, those aspects exist unaffected by the superhero community. Is that a fair assessment of the DCU? Would you view it as largely unimpacted by the superhero and supervillain presences running around, existing? Let me know, that seems like a your mileage may vary kind of statement. Today we're going to be looking at this universe's version of The Flash. The characters in the Tangent Universe were presented via a series of one-shots. These gave you a glimpse into each character and the universe. There was another series of one-shots in 1998 following the initial push in 1997. There were some dealing with new characters and some follow-ups, though in this series they were largely dealing with the same event that had taken place in the Tangent Universe. There was also a 2008 limited series called Tangent: Superman's Reign, and this one turned a lot of new people onto the Tangent Universe. This was because it crossed over with the main DCU continuity, main at the time, and many felt it had good pacing and character development. Pacing is important, people. No matter how interesting your story is, if it goes too fast or too slow, it's not going to be conveyed in the best light. You're going to lose people. So with all that groundwork laid, let's take a look at the Tangent's Flash, who became one of the breakout characters of that universe. But before we get started, I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join us on this crazy comic book journey. Also, if you're so inclined, hit the join button. It's always very much appreciated. We love tangents here, so it's only natural that we would find ourselves in the Tangent Universe. The Flash, written by Todd DeZago with art by Gary Frank. Colors by Patricia Mulvihill. This cover is certainly eye-catching, although I'm not sure it's using space as well as it could. I get why they put her to the side, so that the massive midriff cutout wasn't covered by the A. 'Tis 1997. The midriff is king. This one is a lot though. Whenever you see a giant hole like this on a costume, it's always like, but por qué? Unless you have flawless abs of steel and the world must know. It's like, yes, I saved all those people, but my abs though. Nice 60s go-go boots. Beverly Hills. Today, right now, oh boy, where a small group of rather questionable looking men go about their decidedly dark deeds. Firstly, nice alliteration. Secondly, it was his pants, wasn't it? Our red-panted villain is an Agent Kelly, who has got his henchmen to pick up / build a mannequin that has hypno-gyros in the eyes. This will cause anybody who makes contact with it to fall under its mind control and then just do whatever they tell them to. Excellent, into position. She's due to meet that little friend of hers out front in 2 minutes. Oh, we have her this time. But as his henchmen pick up the mannequin, he makes eye contact with it and falls completely under its spell. And his henchmen just so happen to be talking about what if somebody just hopped out into traffic because they're salty that day. So he hopscotches out into traffic, right in front of a truck. I kind of love that the truck driver who hits him yells, "Zoinks." That was his automatic, unfiltered response. Must be a big Scooby-Doo fan. So here it must be noted that the tone of this book is meant to be more lighthearted. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. This is not your dark, gritty story. It's not entirely lighthearted, but it presents itself with a comedic slant. I'm like so busted. Oh, me? My name is Lia Nelson. I'm the Flash. I'm made of light. So her powers are that she is literally made of light. She can travel at the speed of light, create constructs, manipulate her appearance, be pretty much anywhere in a flash. hence the name. Her other power is that she's a young celebrity. Which makes her more powerful? You decide. This tale is called Premiere, which is going to serve as a dual title, both about the plot and on a meta level. It is her premiere in comics. Ooh. Lia is going to meet her best friend Bentley to go and try to look for dresses for her big movie premiere that night. But first, she needs to put on a 90s/60s fusion outfit. But that's just her. Bentley is embracing the 90s though. Ben, hello! Tonight's only the premiere of my first ever movie. I'm the star and I've never even acted before. I developed the new holoscope tech for the way groovy special effects. I'm gonna be stressing over all of that. Lia then decides that she should share her backstory before going on. She was born to 2 astronauts who hooked up on the first manned mission to Jupiter. Her mother was Lia Nelson, chief engineer. Responsible for like all the ship's functions, like Geordi LaForge. Isn't she pretty? Priorities. Although when you meet her mom later on, you'll see why she's like that. Her father was Captain Terrence Kelly. Somehow her being conceived in space around all this irradiated material, which Lia herself calls the cosmic rocks in the next room, somehow caused her to be born with incredible powers. Her mom used them to put her in the public eye since she was a baby, as well as to augment her own fame. Her mom went full stage mom, manager mom, superhero mom, whatever you want to call it. So Lia has been a celebrity and treated that way all her life. Mom said that it seemed like the whole country helped raise me. Oh, and since I had these like Marvy powers, it was only right to use them to like help people and stuff. I guess I'm like a superhero or something. Which is okay, but it doesn't get me any closer to finding a fab dress for tonight. You know, for being such a big celebrity, she's out with very little security. There's even a crowd of people watching her from across the street. One fan gets a little too enthusiastic and climbs up on a lamppost. It's high up and he falls off. He's also dramatically yelling, "Lia, I love you!" So we get a little demo of Lia's powers. She's a bit of a show-off. Since she's so fast, she likes to think of different impressive things to do when saving people. For this thirsty fan, she creates a giant hollow version of herself to catch him. Oh, believe me, you're welcome. Meanwhile, off with a clandestine government organization known as Nightwing, they're a covert elite, working to manipulate global affairs in America's best interests. They're arguing about Agent Kelly, who is the agent we saw at the beginning of this issue, who, yes indeed, is Lia's father. Also, I enjoy that he's described as operating as the loosest of cannons. There are loose cannons, then there's Agent Kelly. He used to be a promising agent. In fact, he was a plant on that Jupiter mission. His mission was to destroy any Soviet interference so that they could not be at the same place in the space race. But then he took his seating a step further. Come on now, we're trying to be classy here. No, we're really not. Never. Delivering the child to us for study and indoctrination, we discovered she had potential to become our greatest weapon. Despite himself, Kelly would have been a hero, if not for the child's own willful actions. Of course, the mother didn't help by then putting her in the media spotlight. So Kelly has since been tasked with the capture and neutralization of his own daughter, which is what he was trying and failing to do earlier. But Nightwing thinks they have a new solution that can cut him out of it. It's a new agent called Dark Star, altered at a cellular level to absorb light. They feel it deep within before they feel it on their flesh. The light stolen from their eyes, the pigment flayed from their skin, their souls stripped from them in ribbons as this living vacuum drains them both emotionally and enough unsettling, don't you think? Okay, that's nice and all, but has Lia found a dress for the premiere? Lia, honey, please tell me you're not thinking of wearing that to the premiere tonight. I mean, I might mention this before, but my mom is like over the top. She digs that we're celebrities and says we owe it to our public to be, you know, visible. Well, there is nothing invisible about her mom's costume, which just makes me think about American Made from The Tick. Her father is also at the store with a new plan to trap her. This one involves a giant suction tube, so you know it's good. She's gonna go into the change room. They're gonna activate the tube. She's gonna be sucked up into the tube. The tube's gonna neutralize her powers, then they're gonna take her back to Nightwing. If it's good enough for a Looney Tune, it's good enough for Agent Kelly. However, Lia doesn't go into the first stall, claiming that it's locked. But I mean, she could also probably see the giant tube descending from the ceiling. He's not subtle or slick. The dress her mom picked is really awful, by the way. I agree with Lia. It looks like it's a magician's robe. Meanwhile, her father goes to check and see what went wrong, and of course you know he gets sucked up into the tube. It then explodes and sends him flying out into the store, right at Lia and her mom's feet. Daddy? Hello, princess. Hello, Celeste. Hello, Terrence. Nightwing is setting up their trap at the premiere, but really they need to look at the sign because that S is blending. Is that its choice or did no one check? This is her big premiere. Back at Dress Central, I mean the plot that we deserve, Leah's mom leaves and then she's there talking with her dad for just a little bit. But like, you will be at the premiere tonight, won't you, Daddy?
Of course, Princess. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'll be there. But you won't.
He has another plan, and this one's definitely going to stop her from getting to the premiere. Nothing's going to go wrong. It totally goes entirely wrong and he shoots himself into space. But who cares? Leah found her dress. It's so extra. I kind of love it. We learned that Darkstar has actually had some issues with his absorption powers, and that his lead backer within Nightwing, who happens to be Black Lightning, has been kind of hiding it a little bit. In fact, he tells him that he can't activate his abilities until he gives the word now. Meanwhile, on the other side of the theater, Leah's dad's back from space and getting hit by another truck and he's at it again. How does he keep getting all this new tech built so fast? I have so many questions. This robot can be controlled via joysticks. And it only sends out instructions on a frequency that Nightwing uses, so you can already see how this is going to go horribly awry. As he activates the joystick, he ends up tapping into what's going on the other side of the building and messing with Black Lightning's chair. As a result, Black Lightning ends up screaming, "Stop now," which causes Darkstar to activate his absorption powers, and he ends up absorbing himself. Agent Kelly, he can destroy his own plans and yours without even being in the same space. It's a talent. It's all in a day's work. This is gonna be one heck of a report. Leah, meanwhile, is loving her premiere. All the holoscopic tech she designed is working flawlessly for an ultra more than 3D experience. And to top it off, her acting is okay. But Black Lightning also had a backup plan. As they watch, suddenly a negative version of Leah leaps out through the screen. Take a deep breath, girlfriend. It's gonna be your last. I can read her spectrum like instantly. She's like some kind of Saul Hall evil twin, dark doppelganger of me. An anti-negative reverse flash. And she rips her dress. And now none may live. The hours of work, searching, ruined. Your history, light trash. The people who made me sent me here for just one thing. Not to just diss you in front of your girls, but to completely and utterly destroy you. You know, I think someone's been lying to you about me. I mean, like, how would anybody know what it would take to destroy me? I mean, as far as I know, I've never even been tested on my powers or their limits. Really? I don't even know my limits myself, but I plan to find out. Leah defeats her dark alternate and disguises herself to go confront Black Lightning. I don't remember doing anything to you. I've never even seen you before, but if I ever see you again, I'll make sure that I'm the only thing you see for the rest of your life. Jerk. So Leah sneaks away from the press, much to her mother's dismay, and just pieces out in the limo with Bentley. She laments that her dad didn't make it, but with a subtle nod that kind of hints that she knows what he's up to. And that was The Flash. There's a fun little interview at the back of the book that dives into how she was created and her look and her name and the 60s vibe and all that. The 60s vibe with her clothes is intentional because they wanted her to have a bit of a retro feel. And there was some retro 60s stuff going on in part of 90s fashion, so it's not hard to incorporate, especially with the floral stuff. There's so many flowers in the 90s. And the little cute petticoats we used to have with like the flower buttons, those are back too. There's a great moment where they ask Todd DeZago if the name Leah comes from the word light, and he's just like, no, I just thought it had a modern teenage feel to it. He further stated, I saw Leah as being like Alicia Silverstone in the superhero version of Clueless. Alternate realities these days are always so dark and dystopian. I wanted to show the upside of the tangent universe from someone who had grown up in it and takes for granted all the stuff that we'd find so weird. Well, they certainly got the character how they wanted. Leah is a time capsule and a bit of a caricature, and it can be endearing if you're here for that sort of thing. Though you do have to get past all of the period typical teen speak and the whole clueless, bumbling comedic tone. If you don't enjoy that, this would just prove grating for you. There are, however, a lot of interesting little things laid out, like how powerful is she? How aware is she? The celebrity first, superhero second angle is interesting, and it's also fascinating to have a hero who has kind of just been placed on that path and doesn't have a strong affinity for it. It makes her different. Also, her being named the Flash does match her powers, so it's not a total shock or disconnect. The tangent universe is definitely not for everybody. For some, it can go a bit too far left field, too different, but for others, that's part of the appeal. This book wants you to have fun and maybe a laugh or two. So did you? Did you like Lia / The Flash? Do you think she has potential? Can you see why she became one of the more popular characters in this universe? Or was it teen dream cliche city and you wanted to get off at gritty action station? Was there too much midriff for you? I want to hear all of your thoughts. I really dug the reverse Flash inverse color scheme. Tell me what you thought down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to discuss comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.